Hello everybody, my name is Wilder, and no matter what your opinion is on the 3DS itself, I think we can all agree that the handheld had some pretty good games and series to it. Nintendo knows this too, and just because they stopped making games for the 3DS doesn't mean they want to leave everything behind. Nintendo has stated that they want to continue franchises that were on the 3DS on the Switch. This makes total sense because not only is the Switch a home console and a handheld, but with the Switch Lite selling amazingly well at launch, this is definitely the future of Nintendo's handhelds. So it's really no secret that they want to bring past franchises that were previously on handhelds to the Switch. The big question is, which ones are we getting? Well, Nintendo has already started this process with a new entry in the Brain Age series coming to the Switch. And oh man, it's been a long time since I've heard that name. Dr. Kawashima's brain training will come with a stylus, and looks as though it will require you to hold your Switch vertically to play most of the game. This is probably going to feel a little weird at first, but it's a good example of how Nintendo really does want to bring these series over to the Switch and continue them. I did not expect Brain Age to make a return at all. I loved playing the game on my DSi XL way back in the day, but like I said, Brain Age is a name I haven't heard in a long time. This makes me really excited to see what other games they decide to make from series that I've just completely forgotten about. As for the really obvious ones, however, there's Pokemon, with both Pokemon Sword and Shield on the Switch. The Professor Layton series looks like it will be continuing on the Switch as well, with the latest game being ported to the Switch when it originally came out on the 3DS. And even though it's not a property of Nintendo, I gotta mention Shin Megami Tensei 5, which was announced so long ago. But the reason I mention it is because the point is, the 3DS is over. Whether it's Nintendo or not, franchises and series that were on the 3DS are coming to the Switch. There are a lot of good games on the 3DS and previous handhelds that I think deserve to be continued on the Switch. And a lot of them are from Nintendo themselves. By far the biggest request, the one I've heard the most, and one I agree with 100%, is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I love this series so much. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon not only had amazing stories and characters, but it also let Pokemon who weren't used much in the main games really shine and get their time in the spotlight. With Sword and Shield now on the Switch with its new Pokemon, I think a Mystery Dungeon game releasing after it would be really cool, and could ride off of and build more hype. I miss this series so much, and I really hope that in the future they honestly think about bringing it back. Like, near future. Please. Another series I would love to see continued on the Switch is Nintendogs. Nintendogs is such a feel-good game, and I think they could do something really fun and interesting with the motion controls and the Joy-Con's HD Rumble. The Joy-Con's HD Rumble is such a wasted opportunity to me, and it's a real shame. The only time I ever use it is when I play Skyrim, and I'm lockpicking. You know, trying to feel around for the sweet spot in a lock. I mean, the HD Rumble was made with so much more in mind than that. Sure, there are games that definitely do use it, but when I first heard about it, and how passionate Nintendo was when talking about it, and how cool it actually is, I thought it was going to become the next Wiimote, with a lot of games developed with it in mind. I remember seeing the original demonstration when they were talking about the ice cubes, you know, and how you could feel the weight in the Joy-Con. Sadly, the games that take advantage of this mechanic feel very far and few in between. I mean, there was 1-2 Switch, I guess? Yeah, there was that full-priced game. Anyway, Nintendogs and HD Rumble in the Joy-Cons are both interactive. I think Nintendo could do something really cool with this. I mean, I don't know. Look at Nintendo Labo. Maybe we could make a cardboard dog or something. That would be fun, yeah? I'd make a cardboard dog. Now, the microphone may be a little difficult, but I believe in Nintendo. I mean, they've made microphone accessories for other consoles and games in the past, like with Hey You Pikachu all the way back on the N64, and Mario Party 7 on the GameCube. So I believe they can figure something out for the Switch. Or, you know, we could just ditch the microphone altogether, because if I'm being honest, it was pretty frustrating at some points. Regardless of that though, I think Nintendogs would be a great series to continue on the Switch, even if I don't see it being brought up a whole lot. You know what game is brought up all the time when this conversation comes around? Probably just as much, if not more than Pokemon Mystery Dungeon? Kid Icarus Uprising. This game is constantly praised and loved by so many people. I've played very little of this game, I must admit, but what I have played, I loved. I actually played the multiplayer of this game more than the main story. No joke. That multiplayer mode was the best multiplayer Nintendo had come out with up to that point. It was really fun. If you've never played it, I definitely recommend it. I always see people asking for a sequel to this game, and honestly with the Switch, and now the Switch Lite, selling so well, just about anything is possible. Sakurai himself has stated in multiple interviews that because of how difficult development on this game was, he doesn't think that a modern port would be possible. And when asked if there would ever be a sequel, he straight up just answered no. This easily shatters dreams for Kid Icarus fans, and it's pretty sad to hear. But maybe one day someone will decide to pick up the series and do something with it. Hopefully it won't take 25 years like Sakurai stated in an interview, because you know just as well as I do that that sequel would be a big hit. Moving to the opposite side of things, however, a game that I personally want to see that might not be too big of a hit is a sequel to Tomodachi Life. This game is pretty weird, but it's something that I think was really fun. Nintendo isn't into Miis as much as they once were, which I think is actually kind of a shame. The Miis may have been really simple, but that's a big part of what made them so appealing to me. Tomodachi Life used these Miis in an interesting way that hadn't really been done up to that point. This is a game that I got into late, but even then I still enjoyed immensely. It was fun, funny, kinda wacky, and oh my god, the Twitter clips to come out of this game were gold. People were pushing that Nintendo kid-friendly filter as far as it could go. Seriously, if you haven't seen some of this stuff, look it up. It is crazy funny. Like I said, Nintendo isn't as focused on Miis as they once were, but they are still on the Switch, even if it's just in a small way. I think that Tomodachi Life getting a sequel on the Switch would be a really good way to bring the Miis back, even if it's just a little bit. I don't know if Nintendo's trying to kill them off, but I like them, so I'd like to see them return a little. Speaking of returning, sadly the developers of the Mario and Luigi RPG series, Alpha Dream, has gone bankrupt. It happened a while ago, and I would have loved to put the Mario and Luigi series on here and have it be a pretty obvious addition to this list, but I can't. So now we'll just have to wait and see if, one day, hopefully anything happens with the Mario and Luigi name in some way. So sadly, already moving away from Mario and Luigi, a game that I hear about all the time due to people wanting it to return so badly is Rhythm Heaven. Seriously, with this statement that Nintendo made about the 3DS franchises, Rhythm Heaven was everywhere. Rhythm Heaven started on the DS, and then had a sequel on the 3DS, and everyone who plays it apparently loves it to death. I've never played Rhythm Heaven, another game I just completely missed out on. But believe me, I have seen the love for it from both the internet and from friends who owned it. I personally can't say much about the game, seeing as I never played it, but what I definitely do know is that if the game came to the Switch, then it would definitely make a lot of people happy. Like, so many people. But you know what else would make a lot of people happy, myself included this time? WarioWare. The WarioWare series was a crazy amount of fun with the most creative and weird minigames I've ever seen. It reminded me of Mario Party minigames, but a lot quicker and definitely a lot weirder. I remember playing these games with my friends when I was younger and just thinking, yep, this is definitely a game from Japan. These minigames were so creative and in some cases really challenging, but also short enough for you to not get burnt out on almost any of them, that it was a very different experience from anything I had ever played up to that point. But on August 3rd, 2018, WarioWare Gold was released for the 3DS in North America, and was met with some pretty favorable reviews. Because of this, I don't think that another game in the future coming to the Switch is too out of the question. With how creative and crazy WarioWare is, I would love for a new game to show up soon. I'm really hoping for this one. There are so many games and series on the 3DS that not only deserve to return because of how fun they were or how well they did, but also some that may be able to make a return or a comeback because of how well the Switch is selling and how much of a hit all its games are. I honestly can't wait to see what franchises Nintendo continues with. I'm already hyped and waiting to see more. But that's going to be all from me today. What franchises would you love to see return? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. All links are down in the description along with the names of my wonderful, amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one.